Bobcats. Davis Ragland, pick six. Feldman, that one will get in. That's a good point right there. A shot coming here. That's a goal. Lifted to left center field. Gets off the warning track into the wall. Transition three. Boom! Knocks that one down. And it's a goal. What a beautiful play. Dutton, look what I found over to first. It's a 3-on-1 all the way. Yes. There he goes. Welcome out to Bobcat Live right here on KFJB-TV. I'm Brandon Lewis, our producer David Braga tonight. Jen O'Neill start out with us as we'll talk volleyball in a moment. But, hey, be sure to grab the special tonight here at Bobcat Live. $1 off the pretzel here, as well as be sure to round up for a donation back to the MHS School District as proceeds going back to help out with the activities department. So a lot of great ways here with Wayward Social, and a beautiful night as we welcome in Jen O'Neill as the Bobcat volleyball squad 2-0 on the season. But before we get to that, I mean, it's just like this is like perfect weather. We're finally outdoors for our first show here tonight.
So perfect. It's nice to be outside for the first time today.
So school year has gotten going for a lot of the kids this week. Is there anything that you do as a coach to kind of help them with that balance? Because I'm sure, like, especially the first couple of days, a little bit of an overload. I know sometimes with those first couple of days, you're just kind of getting acclimated. But, balancing, homework and school aspects of going to class and then practice and then games, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it can be a load. I know you have a daughter, right?
Yes. Yeah. It can be really challenging. And of course, we tell them, your students first, student athletes. I check in with them every day. I actually had one of my players come up to me and she's like, I have math homework again already for the second day in a row. I'm like, it'll be okay. You'll get it done. Last night, some of them brought some homework to the game too and did that on their offset. So yeah, we check in, we make sure they're doing okay, mentally as well as physically, and always throw in some fun because sometimes that school day can be a little draining, and so we have a little bit of fun when we get started with practice.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Like last night, I don't know what time the bus got home. Earlier than the trip to Fort Dodge, yeah. I'll tell you that for sure. We were home by 9:30. I told David, our producer, and he doubted me. I said the Bobcats are going to take care of business. We're going to be home by 9:30, and I think it was 9:31 when I pulled in my driveway last night. So you took care of business. Your team did, as well as a 3-0 win on the road. But getting back late at night, and then getting up the next day, it's all part of the deal. I mean, But sports season doesn't last forever, and then you move on to other sports, that kind of thing too. But I guess that's looking back on it, that's kind of the fun aspect of it. You're with your friends. You're also taking care of what you need to, but a lot of memories being made for this team right now.
Oh, a lot of memories are being made, and the team bonding that we get to have on our bus rides. Last 2 times on the way home, our amazing bus drivers have stopped for us, especially last night because we got done so early. So stopped, got a little bit of food, and playing the music on the bus and really coming together as a whole team, all the way from freshmen to the seniors has been really great. So yeah, we're making some really good memories. Obviously, winning helps with that too. But it's been fun.
Yeah. All right. So where'd you stop last night then? After
one bus went to Raising Cane's, and the other bus went to Chick-fil-A. So chicken all around.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why didn't you just make the same stop?
I think we had this miscommunication right away. One bus went one direction, and we were all eating. That's all the girls cared about is we were all eating.
I let the guys stop. We needed gas. We had to stop, so we stopped at Quick Start last night, so they could get something. Last night you take on the Hoover Huskies, really dominated there in the first and second set. I know you mixed in a few other ladies in that third set to get some more experience. How pivotal is a moment like that for, maybe some sophomores and things like that getting in the mix?
Yeah, it's really great. I mean, when I can get them some varsity experience, some playing time that level, that only helps propel us forward, for the next year. But also, all throughout the season, we may call on them, to step in at any moment in any game. And so getting them out there and playing together will really help better prepare them for those situations when we do need to put them in.
Yeah, I believe it was 25-6 in the first and second set. Yep. To be able to start out, I think Gabby Estabrook, I think, had like 11 or 12 serves
Yeah.
in a row to begin the match
Yeah.
in that first set.
She was
Yeah, she was on point right there to
Yeah.
begin that. So when you see somebody just hitting their spots, dominating, is that your kind of point as a coach where you're just kind of hands off? You're just like, just do your thing, or is there still some teaching moments, that kind of thing in those situations?
For sure. I mean, what people probably don't see is I do call their serves. I ask them, to serve to a certain zone or serve what we call seams in between some people. And Gabby probably hits those 98% of the time. She is so good at hitting her spots. And so sometimes I look at her and I'm like, your choice. That's what I kind of did last night, was serve where you want to serve. And she came away with like 8 aces. I think she was 14 for 14 in her serving. And,
wow.
So, I mean, I told them on a timeout, we're probably not going to get a whole lot of opportunities to run our offense. So let's challenge ourselves with our serving and really prepare for those other games where we do need to continue to serve tough, hit those zones, and keep the ball away from their best passer.
Well, that's what, I called a little bit of volleyball down when I was working at the University of North Alabama, and I didn't remember them using it. I'm sure it's more common than not, but I always saw Kaylee Pashong last year with, past couple of years with her sheet up, and you're doing the same thing as well too.
Yep.
So just for the fans who are watching at home, you might hold up, I don't know what you do, but probably like a 1 or a 2, and then that means if you hold up 1, you're trying to go back left corner or right corner or front, that kind of thing. So walk me through your process of how you kind of get to that point. Is it just what you're seeing from the other team? What would it be?
Yeah, in most cases, that's it for sure. So there are 6 zones on the court. I'll give them a number, or I will give them 2 numbers that I alternate back and forth, which means I want you to try to hit that seam in between those 2 zones. And really what it is exactly what you said. I'm already watching, or I have scouted some film to kind of pick out, who is their best passer on serve receive, and we want to try to keep it away from them, or where can we serve it to get them out of system so that that's not the pass where they can run their entire offense. And then obviously as we start playing, I learn a lot more about the team physically being there, and so I just try to get strategic in calling those serves. If our servers are serving deep and they move back, then I'm asking them to serve short, and it's just kind of a strategy game that we like to play.
Yeah, how do you keep the momentum going? Obviously, 2-0 is a great start. You've got the APGAR invite coming up on Thursday. What do you think it is, like the perfect recipe to just continue that momentum?
I think what is really helping us right now is the girls are kind of like hungry to keep winning. Starting off 2-0 has been great, and so they've felt some success, and they're motivated to just keep it going. We talked a little bit about playing teams that we don't or normally wouldn't play in our conference, like we'll play tomorrow night. And they always bring some good teams, the 3 teams that are coming. And so we talked a lot about our mental game, and like we really have to make sure that our mental game is strong. We're not getting down. We're able to just be that resilient, kind of like against Fort Dodge. We talked about that. And so, I mean, the girls are motivating themselves and playing together. And that's what we need to keep doing.
Tomorrow night, give me a little bit of a preview. I don't know if there's a sport that Solon is not good at. Same could almost be said for Waverly Shell Rock. It seems like they always find a way to be, very competitive. And then Waterloo Columbus, a little bit of a lower level, but they always challenge as well, too. They play up a lot, it seems like. So what do you kind of expect going into tomorrow night?
I expect them all to be tough. I think we go into it with that same mindset of, we're going to set the tone, though, and we're going to play at our level. And so really walking into it that way, I think, is going to help us. But also just being prepared for, whatever they throw at us. We have been really working on getting good at 2 different defenses so that we can switch on a dime. We've been really, really focusing on quickening up our offense and making sure our passing is on point. So, I think we're definitely ready to play at home.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be exciting for us, and then just putting all those pieces together and see what we can do.
So best of 3 tomorrow night, right?
Yep.
So, last year I look at when we went to Fort Dodge and the Bobcats were down 2-0. They had that opportunity to come back 2-2 in a regular style match. Ended up losing 3-2. But when you go into these tournaments, like the invite tomorrow, the APGAR invite, the first to 2, I mean that just seems like I see a lot of 2-0 scores,
Yeah.
in those invites. And so how do you plan as a coach, like, hey, you get one? It just seems like them, if the team wins the first one, they would have all the momentum heading into the second one. So how do you kind of manage that in an invite like that?
I honestly think it's the same as we would go into a regular match where you have, 5 opportunities to win. We just know we have 3. So it's really taking control of the game right away, playing our game, serving tough. I think our team has been doing a really good job of that. And just continuing to work together. If we do happen to get the first one, we set the tone and play at our level and just continue to do that. And we'll never stoop down to the other side. Like, we get to write the story. So.
Yeah. We're going to talk to Alan Mann coming up a little bit later, but he works so much with strength and conditioning. How have you kind of leaned on him or worked with him to handle that side of things for the ladies?
I think right at the beginning when Alan and I first started talking to, and with the summer lift, he came to me and said, I kind of want to do things a little bit differently. Here are some things I'm looking at. And they were all the things that I was looking at too when you're thinking about conditioning for volleyball specific skills. And so lots of plyometric work, lots of jump training, things like that. So he's been pivotal in that because I know what he's doing up there is translating into what we're doing in the gym as well. And I also reached out to him about, some things that we wanted to do in some stations during some of our conditioning. So he's been a great support, and I know that what they're doing in the weight room is definitely helping us on the court.
What do you think, like, overall, a big benefit from what you just talked about there with the strength and conditioning? I mean, when you get out there on the court, is it players are much more likely to come up with a block or to come around the edge and get that big kill, or like how in your eyes do you see that kind of translate?
Yeah, it's definitely their vertical can be increased. So, getting that block, I think their speed and agility on the court too. When we transition from our home position to our defensive position, they have to have quick feet. So all of the things that he's doing is really helping with that. Tonight we were at the net, and Gabby Estabrook said, man, I think the net is too low. And so we looked and we're like, oh, it's where it is. She goes, my vertical just must be getting better. I'm like, awesome. That's great. So thanks, Alan, for that.
That's awesome. All right. So our next broadcast coming up on Tuesday night as the Bobcats host Ames. I know you got tomorrow night and you're getting all ready and set to go, and probably not looking too far past that, but that's always a big one. Highway 30 rivalry. Last year, the Bobcats defeated the Little Cyclones, which was, pretty eerily similar. I mean, right at the beginning of the season for the most part. So kind of helped propel the team last year a little bit too. When you kind of manage that where, hey, we need to worry about APGAR invite, but also we're getting ready for Tuesday. What's your kind of philosophy as a coach on that?
I think they said it too, like one game at a time is really what we need to focus on. But everything that we are working toward and putting into practice Thursday is going to help us for Tuesday as well. So what's good about having our invite tomorrow is we also have film that we can look at and reflect upon to prepare on our side of the net for Tuesday. Obviously, we'll also do some scout film on Ames and see what we need to, do on our side of the net to continue to stop them and just take advantage of all the hard work that we've been putting in.
When you look at film, is it just tendencies? Is that kind of one of the biggest things on the volleyball side?
I mean, sometimes, yeah. I think we're also looking for, for our hitters, we're looking for open spots. On their defensive side, what kind of defense are they playing, and where can we kind of target our kills? We look at our own film to see what kind of breakdown are we having in our defense, and what do we need to work on our side. So I think there's just a lot of components. We do look at servers, serving tendencies. Do they happen to serve to the same spot? Are they picking on one person? Same with hitting. Are they targeting a certain hitter more often than others? So I think we're just looking at a lot of things all around and having really good conversations. The girls have been really interested and focused on looking at film, and when you do see yourself, especially that reflection of like, oh, okay, now I see what you're talking about. Like when that light bulb goes off and then they can take it out there and change it. It's really, really powerful.
Awesome. Jen O'Neill with us here on Bobcat Live as volleyball, the APGAR invite tomorrow night. And then our next broadcast on KFJB-TV will be coming up on Tuesday as they take on the Little Cyclones inside the Roundhouse. We're looking forward to a conference game at home.
Yes, absolutely. Can't wait.
Yeah, hopefully we get the Roundhouse packed on Tuesday night. Jen, thanks for the time. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
All right, that is Jen O'Neill, Marshalltown Bobcat Volleyball, right here on KFJB-TV.
Wayward Social is the place for fun. With 20 lanes of bowling, leagues for all levels, great food and drink options, an awesome arcade, there is a ton of fun to be had at Wayward Social. And that's just on the inside. Step outside and enjoy patio life at Gutter Point with drinks, shuffleboard, live music, and fun atmosphere. Follow Wayward Social on Facebook for updates on specials and live music. It is all on South 6th Street in Marshalltown. Visit wayward-social.com to plan your next visit to the place for fun.
You planned and saved for your child to go to college, but medical school after graduation was a surprise. A happy, expensive surprise. Wells Fargo Advisors can help. For more than 125 years, we've created wealth management and investment strategies aimed at achieving our clients' personal financial goals. When opportunities surprise you, turn to Wells Fargo Advisors. Together, we'll go far.
Wells Fargo Advisors is located at 14 East South Ridge Road in Marshalltown. Call them at 641-752-5401. They're a member SIPC.
Back in on Bobcat Live on a beautiful Wednesday night. Leah Barkema with us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. This is, I know you're inside in a hot pool, maybe a little humid in there, but get out here. This is pretty nice, huh?
Oh, yeah. This will be my favorite part of the day. I've been inside since about 7 in the morning. I've been on a pool deck, which that's not the best air, but this is great.
Yeah, for sure. Girls swimming, of course. You've had a couple of meets gotten underway. Last week you took on Mason City, 105-75 win, so that was a great way to start out the season. What have you seen so far from the lady swimmers that you've really liked?
We have seen a lot of girls really step it up. We have 2 seniors coming back. One of our seniors is a returning state diver, and her name's Kate Hauser. She's done a great job with some leadership. They came to that first meet with a bunch of great ideas for how to pump each other up. They've been fun, and they carry that energy through the meet, and they just did a nice job keeping all of their teammates together in the meet and really enjoying the moment.
Tell me a little bit more about Hauser and the diver. We heard so much about I'm struggling to think of her name.
Abby.
Abby Tollefson. She was at Iowa State now.
She is.
We heard so much about her last year. Tell me a little bit about kind of, I guess, maybe your new star over there on the diving side.
So Kate's been a diver with us for 4 years. This will be her senior year, like I said. She's got a really similar background. She came from tumbling, and that's honestly where we get a lot of our great divers. They just have the body control. They have the awareness. It's
already flexible.
It's a similar sport.
Yeah.
So she came to us from a tumbling background, and she took to it right away. She's strong, and she can launch herself really well. So she was able to get some very difficult dives very early in her career. And this year she spent a lot of energy refining them, getting those fine-tuned, those details on there. And it showed. Her first meet out, 2 of her dives scored higher than they ever had.
Awesome.
So great opening start for her, and very promising, hoping she continues that all the way through the championship season.
When you talk about working on and getting down some of those hard dives, what dives would those be that are, kind of the challenging ones that divers, really need to get down? Is maybe are they kind of like a core essential dive that, everyone needs to do well if you're going to be good at diving?
So diving, you kind of have to have 2 strengths. So you've got to have really good simple dives. They've got to be almost perfect because they don't have a really high degree of difficulty, which means they're not inherently hard to throw. So what you do, you don't have a whole lot of margin for error. So you've got to spend some time making sure those look perfect, because almost everybody at the state level is going to get an 8, 8.5. So not a whole lot of room for error. But you've also got to have in your bucket these really big dives. And those are things where you'd be doing 2 flips or 2.5, or they're twisting. And to the layperson and to me for a year or two, that just looks like a mess up there. But they are awesome at controlling their bodies and flying through the air and doing some of those just bigger stunts.
You talked about kind of the tumbling gymnastics aspect of kind of converting over to the diving side. So I know that the scoring on that side can be a little subjective at times. Is it that way when you're scoring diving, and is it kind of knowing sometimes, officials who might be on hand for certain situations and I know the coaches do some of the scoring too. So is it kind of knowing tendencies, or is it just kind of going out and trying to do the best that you can do each dive?
Honestly, usually the coaches are the nicer judges. So if you're a diver, you're doing pretty good if your coaches are the majority of the panel. And part of it is, the sport, all these kids, and just how hard they work to get that double to a 2.5. And they also just see it. They just see there's those same dives a ton. So the coaches tend to be maybe a half point or a point higher. So the girls love when that's on the panel. But when you get to the bigger meets, they'll expand the panel. So in diving, you can score 3 judges. At the bigger meets, they'll have 7 judges sitting and scoring.
Oh, wow.
So the top 2 and the top bottom 2 scores get thrown out, and you basically only average the middle.
Okay.
So that's how at those bigger meets, they really will do their best to take the subjectivity out. It's always going to be a subjective sport, but they try and put more people on the panel so that you can pull those outliers.
Yeah, wow, that's interesting. All right, so Mason City, a good result for you. And then last night, you were in action, doubleheader. So you took down Fort Dodge, and then I had to write it down because it's a plethora of schools that mixed together. Newton, Colfax, Mingo, and Pella. You took them on, a loss in that one, but a win against Fort Dodge. So what was your thought on how last night went for you?
We were really excited. So our first meet, Mason City, was a really great confidence booster. Our girls got out there, and they were able to see themselves out in front and see themselves winning races. We had 3 freshmen win races that first night, which is it's huge for them to get an excitement for the sport and to be energetic and around the fun. So we took a little bit more of a hit this last meet, but that's good for them too. We were talking about that today at practice. There's a lot of good swimmers out there in the state, and it's good to have some confidence boosters. It's also good to learn to be competitive. So we did have a lot of close races yesterday, and we saw a lot of competitive fighting from our swimmers. So they did a good job hanging on where they could. They were really good at hanging on with Fort Dodge. Newton just had 1 or 2 girls that were gone from the get-go. They were way out in front.
You've got action on Tuesday. You're going to be at Des Moines North. What's kind of your message? Is you kind of prepare for a few days here until Tuesday?
We talked a lot about tonight. When our girls get tired, it's kind of the same as running, which people know a little more. Those running strides get a little bit shorter. Same thing in swimming. We're trying to lengthen out those strokes and keep some more endurance through those longer races. But it's early in the season, so that's not a huge concern. That's just where we're at.
Yeah, kind of getting into the rhythm here. I know we talked a little bit about strength and conditioning and stuff like that. How I've always kind of heard, obviously swimming probably not a big bulking up kind of thing, right? But how do you work with strength and conditioning to be able to improve either times or just endurance, that kind of thing?
We work a lot on strength just for that back half of the races. It's those legs get tired, and one of the biggest parts of a swim race is pushing off the wall with a lot of strength, and that is the same motion as a squat. So we do see a lot of correlation and a lot of benefit out of the weight room, and our girls have done a great job this year staying busy in the weight room. When we go up there, they do their circuits, they know what to do, they've done a great job just working on through it, and they can set it up, they can tear it down. We're really happy with how they've done.
That's awesome. All right, when's your next home meet that you'll have?
Ooh, I was hoping you had written that down. We are at home a lot this season. I don't know when the next one is, but I know we are at home a lot.
Okay, that's the one thing I did not write down.
Oh, man.
And we've got some swimmers over here tonight. Who we got out here at Bobcat Live?
We have got some mostly underclassmen. We've got Alex Lasik, who is one of our swimmers from West Marshall.
Okay.
She does a lot of freestyle for us, and we're working on getting some of the longer events out of her. Emma Case is over there. She's one of our freshmen. Her sister Rachel Case is also there. Rachel's a returning state champion or state qualifier for us. She's done a few relays. She's done the freestyle. She likes to do the breaststroke. And Emma is one of our freshmen who won those races at our first meet.
Yeah.
And then Libby Meyer and Maisie Gummert are both kind of working towards maybe some mid-distance and longer events. They seem to like the 200 and the 500.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, for coming out. And Leah, good to see you as always.
Yeah, good to talk to you.
Maybe we won't make it a year before we see each other again. All right.
All right.
Thanks so
for
much.
having me.
Yeah, thanks so much, Leah Barkabo, with us here on Bobcat Live. When we come back, we will chat with Butch Bear, longtime public address announcer for the Bobcats, right here on your home for the Cats, KFJB-TV.
At Sports Plus Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy Center, we customize each patient's treatment plan to their individual needs. What does that mean? It means that not every back or knee problem is treated the same, and that your program will be unique and designed especially for your needs or problem. This improves how quickly you will return to work or sports. The Sports Plus staff is encouraging and takes pride in your successful recovery. This is just one more reason why champions choose Sports Plus Physical Therapy as their favorite place to rehabilitate and train.
McGregor's Furniture and Mattress is your local furniture store in Marshalltown, and they are proud to support Marshalltown Bobcat Athletics. If you want to kick off football season in a new recliner, pass the bread at a beautiful new dining set, or lay up on a luxurious sectional sofa, McGregor's is the right play. Score the mattress of your dreams with an assist from their friendly and knowledgeable staff. You'll be the household MVP when you bring home the winning selections at McGregor's Furniture and Mattress, downtown Marshalltown. Open 7 days a week.
You bet.
Butch Bear on with us here tonight, public address announcer for the Marshalltown Bobcats. Butch, one thing I always have to, I think when I see you is, how do you have that much hair still? I mean, I lost mine when I was 20, but look at you, man. You're still going strong up there with the hair. So
Great genetics. Great genetics.
I was not blessed with those genetics.
And then let it go gray. If you let it go gray, it's fine. I asked my lady that does my hair if I could color it, and she says, you don't have enough money. So there we go.
Butch Bear on with us here tonight. Thanks so much. We had a little change around, which allowed you, I'm sure you're going to be busy tomorrow night with volleyball, right?
No.
No?
I don't do the AppGar invite because they run
multiple nets.
Yeah, multiple nets, and with that, it makes it really difficult to do any announcing. So you're best to stay out of the way.
You were a 1967 MHS graduate, right?
Could have gone all night without saying that.
We're not trying to date you, Butch.
Oh, no. All that hair, all that white hair, but I'm not trying to date you. No.
Well, I set you up for bald jokes. So, what's it mean to be the public address announcer after graduating from MHS? I read that your wife and your daughters also graduated from Marshalltown High School. What's it mean to be a Bobcat to you?
In 1967, when I graduated, you would have never thought that I would do anything like this. It just wasn't. It wasn't, in the cards necessarily. But as time went on, and I found myself volunteering at the high school, I started volunteering on the basketball bench, running the scoreboard with a gentleman that was PE teacher, Bill Barton, and that was in 1973.
Okay.
And I've been working in some capacity for the school ever since, and it's become my way of giving back to the community, giving back to the high school that I truly enjoyed going to. And it's just a part of what I do anymore. I not only announce here at the high school, but I announce at state level for the state baseball tournament. I also am the backup announcer for the University of Iowa Hawkeye baseball team. And so I do quite a bit of that stuff, and I really enjoy it. I enjoy being close to the sport that I'm announcing at the time. I enjoy watching young people mature and grow up and leave Marshalltown and go on to be contributors to their society. And in 99% of the cases, they're very positive contributors. They're people that are out there, and they're people that are out there in the community, both here and other communities, that because of their establishment in Marshalltown have gone out and done something. Yeah, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of these young people.
Yeah, well, and then to think you were the public address announcer for Mike Apple, and now he's back as a coach, a former Bobcat. How cool is it to see former Bobcats get involved, kind of like you?
It's fantastic. It really is. It's really great to see them, go out, grow up, come back, and then contribute back to the high school that they love. As far as that's concerned, and to see them, do that's really great. You say, watch them go out and come back. A couple of years ago, I had a young fella from Ottumwa come up to me, the head coach at Ottumwa at baseball, and he says, "You know what?" He says, "You announced my name here. Let's see, when was that?" He goes back to 94 or something like that. And he says, "Yeah," and he says, "My son's right over there, and he's playing tonight." Okay, so I'm announcing for kids of kids.
You're multi-generational.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I attribute to what I do very similar to kind of what you do, obviously. And, for me, the baseball team a couple of years ago wrote us a letter and said, thanks for making us feel like, major leaguers and stuff like that. I mean, I guess that's why I get up in the morning and do what I do is to maybe put a smile on somebody else's face and hope they enjoy the job that we do. And I imagine it's kind of something similar with what you do when you announce the starting lineups, or if somebody makes a big bucket or a touchdown, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm kind of happy that you said something about that, because the other one of the last ball games, they presented me with a big thank you for all the years that I have announced baseball and whatever else that I've done. And I'll be real honest with you, that was really nice of them to do that. But I got a bigger kick out of looking up after they said something and seeing all of the Bobcat baseball players in a line wanting to come through and shake my hand and say thank you to me. That was worth everything that I do right there. More importantly than any accolades or anything that I do, having those young men come up and recognize me. And that's another thing too, having young people come back after they've been away from Marshalltown and say, "Hi, Butch, how you doing?" Boy, you remember me? And I said, "Yeah, I sure do." It's one of those things where it's really wonderful to have them remember me, and that's more important than anything that I do.
For a lot of broadcasters or even public address, I mean, you got to have family support to be able to do what you do, because not only you've had a regular full-time job, right? And then this is in addition. So, I mean, there's nights where maybe your wife's taking care of the girls, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, there's times when my wife wonders if she's actually married, or if I just stop around once in a while to say hi, as I walk through the door and back out through the door. In fact, she told me a few years back. She said, "Now your plate is full. You don't need to add any more." And that's the year that I started doing MCC volleyball and the basketball. And I thought she was going to divorce me right there. It was touch and go.
So I guess when you look at your career overall, I know you've done a lot with the state baseball tournament, with Marshalltown activities, that kind of stuff. What's a highlight for you in your career?
Oh gosh. That's really tough. The 40 years of doing some of this, it's hard to remember everything. I do go back and I remember announcing for Jeff Clement, when he's cranking home runs out, all over. But I think overall, just seeing young women or young girls, young boys mature and grow up from there, that's the highlight. Just seeing them do those types of things, and see how mature they get. How Marshalltown High athletics affects their life, not only now but in the future. They don't realize it right now. These young ladies over here that are setting the swim team, they don't realize just how much their life is going to be affected by what they're doing right now, and how important it is for them to develop and learn from that. Learn from the ups and downs that they're going to have throughout their school year, their activities. That's phenomenal to watch them mature and improve.
Yeah, that is for sure. Why baseball so much in your history?
Well, baseball was an accident. A gentleman that was announcing for the high school baseball, Jim Helvig, in 1993, the state tournament got rained out on Saturday, the finals. And that was back when we were doing 4 classes here in Marshalltown. And they got rained out, and Jim had airplane tickets to go on vacation the next day. He called me up on the phone and he says, "You can do this, and you're going to do this for me." I said, "Well, okay." So I said, "I've never done this in my life, and what am I going to do?" So I was shaking like a dog having a problem. And I did the tournament on that Monday, and I've been doing it ever since.
That's awesome.
So it was kind of an accident, but one of those that I really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
I really enjoy doing it. I love, and the bigger the crowd, the better.
Yeah.
The bigger the crowd, the better, because it's just great to have people get involved with the game and hear moms and dads screaming bloody murder at.
Well, yeah, and you can feed off that when you're doing public address for
That's
sure.
right.
So
Yeah, you bet.
yeah, that's awesome. Hey, Butch, appreciate the time. Thanks so much for coming on to Bobcat Live. And next time you see Butch at the game announcement, say hi. All right.
Please do. Okay. Say hi.
Butch Bear, give it up. Longtime public address announcer for the Marshalltown Bobcats. We'll take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll talk with Alan Mann, strength and conditioning, right here on Your Home for the Cats, KFJB-TV.
Life can take unexpected turns. Maybe you started college, but life got in the way. At Marshalltown Community College, we understand. It's never too late to chase your dreams. Come back to where your journey began. Rediscover your passion for learning and let us help you achieve your goals. Schedule a visit today at MarshalltownCommunityCollege.com.
Marshalltown Community College, a step in the right direction.
Small businesses are the backbone of our community. Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce reminds you that when you shop locally, you are benefiting members of our community and adding to our local community overall. You'll find local business owners are generally more knowledgeable, provide better service, and even know their customers by name. Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce exists to be an advocate for our business community. Membership in the Chamber benefits your business and adds to the strength of our advocacy efforts. For more information on shopping locally and Chamber membership, go to Marshalltown.org.
Back in on Bobcat Live right here on KFJB-TV. Your brand new baby sitting right over there with Grandpa. It looks like, right?
Yep, that's Briar Man.
Briar Man. All right, so how Briar was born in March, you were saying?
Yep, March 7th. He's 6 months old.
Awesome.
And you get Coach Furch next. His son, Bo, was born, I think, 6 days before. So,
okay.
We got our future 2 water boys, Bobcats.
and I got the stat girl, maybe.
Yeah.
As Phoebe was born on January 31st.
All right.
I was calling a boys basketball game, and my wife randomly calls me, and I told her we're getting, because February 5th or 7th, or I think was her actual due date, and so I'm like, "You okay? Everything good, And so she had not told me that she was having some contractions throughout the day. She kept that secret, and she wanted to go down to Newton to watch my stepson Deegan play basketball, I think it was. And so she goes down there, and she's on her way back, and she calls me literally probably 20 minutes before we're getting ready to go on for the pregame show. And she said, my contractions are about 30 minutes or 20, maybe it's 20 minutes. I can't remember. Anyway, I was like, oh, you did not tell. So then I call her at halftime, and she goes, yeah, they're about 7 minutes apart now. And I'm like, oh, my Lord. I am like over there sweating, never been a dad, all this kind of stuff. So then I get home, and she is red, and they're about 5 minutes apart, and things are getting real serious. Sure. And so we drive to Mary Greeley, and at 4:40 in the morning, we had Phoebe Lee. So
how fast were you going on 30?
I was trying to go pretty. I think I was going 7 miles over the speed limit, never forget that. So I didn't do the post game show that night. Dylan did the rest for me.
Sure.
I left after that. So anyway, but so I hope everything was a little more smoother on your side.
Yeah, things went well. Pudding cups were great in the 2 cent or the Shasta Cokes.
Oh,
that's right.
That's right.
Most of my time was the break room. Sure, you as well.
The couch was not as comfortable as I had hoped it would be.
We had it hard.
Yeah. The dads are kind of an afterthought, really. I know we're airing our grievances right now, but
Tess just rolled her eyes.
Anyway, did you go to Mary Greeley? Okay, all right. We got 3 Mary Greeley guys here.
Yep.
That's awesome. And some Bobcats in the pipeline.
Yes.
Well, hey, congrats.
Thank you.
What's it like being a dad?
It's amazing. Words can't really explain the, amazingness and the blessing that he is. It truly is a blessing from God. Yeah, it really. Yeah, I feel the same way. If I would have known how awesome it was, I would have had a kid sooner. But I just feel blessed that healthy and all that good stuff. Absolutely.
So congrats, and we'll talk more about. We'll get Duncan's side of the story up here on how. All right. So, any strength or conditioning programs that you've got? Did you say Bo? No, Bo. Briar, Bo. Yep. Okay, that's an easy one to confuse. Okay, so Briar, on any strength and conditioning programs?
We're just doing push-ups right now. That's about it.
All right. Any getting close to standing or crawling or?
Not quite. He raises his hips up some, and then he'll face plant, and then he'll cry, and then he gets Tess and I's attention.
We were 1 month in, and I had Phoebe on strength and conditioning program.
It's smart.
She's already crawling at 7.
There you go.
And she works around all the ottomans in the couch and stands on her own while holding on. And she just thinks it is so funny. Yeah. She just laughs and
fast learner.
Yeah, she is. She is ahead of the game here. There was a baby that was 2 months older than her, and he got inspired to crawl from Phoebe. So he was 8 and she was 6 months. So
and she's a leader. Amazing.
Yeah, she's a leader amongst the pack. So anyway, all right. Moving on to strength and conditioning for the Bobcats. We talked with Coach a couple weeks ago just about some new implementation on how you guys go about and approach strength and conditioning for the football program specifically. So tell me a little bit about maybe how, in your eyes, it was redesigned compared to previous years going into that off season.
Sure. And I'll give the quick version. Last fall, we kind of recognized we get a couple weeks into the school year, and kids just weren't as skilled as I maybe would have liked from a weight room standpoint. And I think a lot of that had to do with we had a really good group of seniors before them when, like Quanan and Nick Lucas and Clay Jakey, now Christensen, that group came through. I think I maybe spent a little too much time with them and kind of neglected our underclassmen. Not on purpose, it just happened. So we recognized that some kids maybe weren't as skilled as need be, so we took a big step back and really focused on fundamentals and things along that line, and creating a discipline and teaching the importance of consistency, not only 1 week at a time, but it needs to be months at a time, and starting from ground zero and then building off of that into the winter and into the spring, and then here this past summer we put ourselves in a very good spot physically than I think we've been in a few years now.
Well, that was evident last Friday night because I saw that line, and even not just the line, but running backs and I don't know what you got Jacob Hayes on, but he's running. 98 yards on the ground, and he was even putting his shoulder down last week, which we love to see. So that was good stuff. But just the really physical style of play that you guys are going to play for the rest of the season, that was evident, and it reminded me like some of those guys that you're talking about. Quanyan was just a monster out there for you guys, and Nick Lucas was not only head and shoulders above anybody else, like mentally leading the team, but that physical side. So being able to do that and see it kind of pan out for you. I know the scoreboard didn't come out the way you guys wanted, but just you could see that it's a sustainable way of winning football games going forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, football's different than other sports, and strength's important in all sports. I want to make that clear. But especially in football, you can be less skilled at things and get away with it if you're fast and strong. Mm-hmm. And I think that gives all of our kids a great opportunity to be pretty solid football players. And as a football coach, I was disappointed last Friday, but as a strength coach, I was very pleased because I saw a lot of kids in white uniforms on their backs most of the night, and I saw a lot of kids in white uniforms cramping up most of the night, and I saw our kids just continually run over them as the night went on. And that has to do everything with them, very little with me. So I was just super proud of seeing all of their work pay off, because there was a lot of long days through the December, January, February months when it's 3:30 in the afternoon and it's a long day of school, and 15 kids come in to lift. I kind of want to get home because there's things to do, but they showed up and they worked at it, and that kind of showed here this past Friday, and I hope it continues to show here for these next 8, 9, 10 weeks.
I've been calling Bobcat games since 2019, so I've got a little bit of a track record. I think Friday night might have been the first time since I've been calling games that I have not seen a week one cramp out there. There wasn't a stoppage of play and a cramp by the Bobcats like there traditionally kind of is that week number one. So I know you mentioned the credit to the kids, that kind of thing. Was there more of an emphasis on staying hydrated, or do you think some of those tactics kind of helped in that process? Or
that's a hard question to answer because every group is so different each year. I think this year we didn't talk about it as much as a staff. It is something we discuss a lot. We even build practice structure around it. But I think one of the reasons, and the weight room is a small part of this, was our practice structure. I know offensively, the amount of volume and how efficient we have become within our practice structure this year, I think helped with that. I think having a scrimmage and playing live and kids going out and doing something at 100% intensity helped that. Because that's where a lot of it comes from. I'm willing to bet that, Mason City, and I don't know. I know they did have a scrimmage, but typically when you see teams go down with cramps week 1, week 2, a lot of it is because they never get their bodies to a point where they go 100% intensity. They may think they do in practice, but they don't. So I think that kind of shows that our kids have gone 100% in practice and they're doing what we're asking as a coaching staff.
Now, this year you're coaching the slots is what – now every offense has a little bit of a different terminology, right? So when I saw the slots, I was kind of wondering, and then I saw the scrimmage and stuff. I guess break it down to me a little bit, like a wingback or something of that somewhat similar kind of that role?
Yep, they're a wing and a slot are essentially the same thing. It's just when you run like a flex bone or a triple option type offense, you would call them a slot, where if you're like a wing T offense or a spread and you have a guy, play where our slots do, you would then typically call him a wing. But it's the same thing. It is.
Yeah, you're kind of nitpicking, I guess you could say. So one of those guys that I saw line up in the slot was Sam Griesel. He ended up scoring his first touchdown of the season, and it was a really nice play. The wide receivers were downfield, got few really nice blocks to kind of spring him. I'm sure that was a nice moment for him. What'd you kind of make of seeing that run pay off there in the second half?
Yeah, hopefully many more to come. I've developed a pretty good relationship with Sam just through the weight room as his teacher, coaching baseball this previous year. So I tend to favor him a little more than some other kids. And I know we're not supposed to have favorites, but we do from time to time. But a lot of that has to do with his work ethic. And he earned a spot onto the field offensively this past Friday because of his blocking. And a lot of the things you do blocking-wise is effort. You know, and you got to decide, I got to go hit this guy as tough as I can to sacrifice myself for someone else. That's a hard thing to do, and he was willing to do that. And him willing to do that, it ended up paying off for him because when his number was called, he executed, and he gets all the credit for that. And he's played himself into a position where he'll have a heavier role offensively than maybe I initially anticipated a couple weeks ago.
So with all that said, last year Cedar Rapids Jefferson kind of came out, punched the Bobcats in the mouth, and then really never looked back. You feel like this team is way more prepared going into week 2 than they were a year ago?
Yep, 100%. Night and day different. I'm still a little nervous, just because of the way things went here this previous Friday. And practice has been a little sluggish here earlier this week. I probably shouldn't share that, but I think it has to do with school a little bit. But there's no doubt in my mind that when the lights come on here this Friday, kids will be ready. They'll be ready to execute. I think this previous Friday developed a little bit of confidence within themselves here some. And I really hope that carries over. And I'm excited to see how they do because, ultimately, they got to choose if they want to go do it. And I do think they will.
Last question for you. What's the biggest key going into this game offensively to take down Cedar Rapids and their defense out there?
Yeah, discipline. We just have to continue to trust our job, our responsibility, our key throughout the whole night. And I think if we do that, the scoreboard will lean in our favor. But we got to stay disciplined. We can't veer off track and kind of do our own thing. We have to trust what we practice each and every single day. And again, I know I'm being repetitive, but if we do that, I think things will go very well for us here this Friday.
Mom and Briar at home watching the game, or are they going to be there?
They prefer listening to you on KFJB-TV.
Oh, you're a good man.
Yeah.
You're a good man. Hey, by the way, Mom was telling me you were kind of a showboat back in high school when you scored a touchdown. So I was wondering if we could get your touchdown celebration as we go to break here.
No, it wasn't really ever a celebration. I had to let whoever it was playing against. I just had to let them know a little bit and remind them, who was doing well.
Alan Mann, strength and conditioning, as well as football coach on with us here at KFJB-TV.
At Greg Young Automotive, we go the extra mile for our customers across Iowa. Why do customers choose us and keep coming back? Because our commitment to exceptional service and satisfaction never wavers. With our extensive network of dealerships throughout Iowa, we leverage unbeatable pricing and offer a better inventory selection than other dealerships. Visit any of our 6 locations across the state and experience the Greg Young difference, where we'll go the extra mile for you.
Some drivers trade cars every year or every other year. Some drive their cars till they drop. Whatever kind of driver you are, Lennox Employees Credit Union is here to get you into the car for your style of driving. You're invited to go to our website, lennoxecu.com, for membership eligibility and loan rates, or call the office to talk to a loan officer. The loan process is quick and easy. Low auto loan rates from Lennox Employees Credit Union, 1004 East Main Street in Marshalltown. Member NCUA.
Miller Middle School turns 100 next year. It has served generations of Marshalltown students well. Education has changed dramatically since Miller opened in 1925. Miller faces a long list of challenges, including limited technology capabilities, lack of space for learning, gathering, and new programming to prepare our students for the next step in their journey. Voters will consider a referendum in November to reimagine Miller for future generations. To learn more, go to marshalltowncsdfuture.com.
Welcome back. Bobcat Live out here at Wayward Social. We are on the patio as just an absolutely gorgeous night. Hey, bowling leagues for all ages and skills starting the week of September 9th at Wayward Social in Marshalltown, online at wayward-social.com. You a bowler at all? I know you do a lot of sports, but...
not a big bowler.
Not a big bowler? Okay, all right. Last time you bowled was...
Maybe last year.
Okay, all right.
After the basketball games, yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, the fifth quarter.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. Did you break 100 or?
I get pretty close. I usually just throw the 8-pounder as hard as I can.
That sounds like something a Greasel would do if I know all the Greasels. Your brother Joe shot 4 over 75. He got 19th today down in Ankeny. So big shout out to the golf team today. 8th out of 12th place down there in Ankeny. As a beautiful day for golf, beautiful day for practice. How was practice today?
That was pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything specific that you guys kind of really worked on to get ready for Cedar Rapids, Jefferson?
Special teams.
Special teams, okay. Probably not trying to allow any more 95-yard kickoff returns, right?
Yep.
Yeah. When I was in high school, if we allowed that, which we did my senior year, we were running a lot after practice.
Yeah, it was.
Is there anything like that going on?
No.
Of course, last Friday night, 26-25, the final score. You get your first varsity touchdown. What was that feeling like?
It felt pretty good. I stepped in the end zone and I was like, oh, I made it.
And we looked at the replay, and we didn't really think there should have been a foul. I think there was excessive celebration, they said.
Everyone's been asking me, was it on me? No.
It was not on you?
No, it was not.
Okay, all right. I won't have you sell anybody else out, but no. I'm glad. Because we saw you celebrate a little bit, and we were like, he's entitled to a little bit.
I just threw the ball up.
So Coach Mann was talking a little bit just about the preparation and your position, being able to block and be a really solid blocker first. But then when your number got called for that play, what was that like for you, knowing you were going to get the ball?
Just kind of read the play on my wrist, and it was like, all right, I got to take it out 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you're executing a block, I'm sure you work on this a lot in practice. What's kind of the technique that you're taught, or the focus on being able to execute? Because this offense is really about, 11 guys out there, but everybody pulling in the same direction. But really, you got to execute that one block that might help spring that run.
Yeah, just kind of staying low and being the first man to hit him.
This offense seems like it would be pretty fun to operate in, especially when it's operating like it was Friday night, where Jacob Hayes had 98 yards. Your tailback Ragland had nearly 60 yards and a touchdown rush, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So being able to operate at a high level, what's that like, and that feeling?
I mean, it's pretty fun. Like, you're moving around a lot, so
yeah,
have to take out your motions, fake every play, fake the defense out. Yeah.
And then on the defensive side of things, of course, getting the start on at safety. When you switch, obviously you're on offense, you're hitting guys. Now you're out there trying to deliver hits. Is there anything for you that you try to focus on? Because that could be an instant thing, right? That you're changing over on the other side of the ball.
Main things is probably staying deep because I'm a safety, and then wrapping up. Furch tells me I need to wrap up every play.
He's a guy who probably wrapped up a few times.
Oh yeah.
I came across. I was looking for Coach's Twitter information today, and I came across a pick six. He had two in one season. I saw at UNI. So are we? Not any pressure, but Davis Ragland was on last week, and he was our player of the game. So we always call it the Bobcat Live bump.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. Yeah.
we hate to put pressure, but I did put a little bit of pressure on you. One thing, you were on a Cat Connection last week that stood out to me. We talked a little bit just about you wanting more people, especially at the younger levels or even any level, taking the Bobcat pride and coming out and increasing the numbers for sports. Football, whatever sport it may be. You're swimming, right?
Yep.
That kind of thing. So, and baseball as well. I know that you would love to probably have even more numbers at the baseball level, that kind of thing. So, I guess for any of the young kids out there watching, what's your I guess what they call, like in the sales world, an elevator speech? Like a 30-second speech to somebody on why you should be a Bobcat and go out for sports.
Just go for it. Just go for it. just got to go for it and have fun.
Yeah. Obviously, you had fun on Friday night with that touchdown. What's going to lead to more fun this Friday night and a victory over Cedar Rapids Jefferson as far as kind of that game plan and getting the job done on both sides of the ball?
Got to be tough on both sides of the ball and play every snap 100%.
Awesome. Well, hey, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Or well, it's Wednesday, so
yeah,
Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Okay? All right. Sam Griesel with us here on Bobcat Live and senior for the Marshalltown Bobcats. Are you still deciding on school? Last time I talked to you? Still?
I haven't
Yeah,
decided
okay,
yet.
all right. It's only been a week.
Yeah.
Sam Griesel with us here on Bobcat Live. When we come back, we'll wrap things up with defensive coordinator Duncan Furch on KFJB-TV.
The right insurance agent can make all the difference. Assured Partners agents represent multiple insurance companies. They can pick and choose from a larger variety of outstanding insurance options. Assured Partners also handles life and health insurance and Medicare supplement coverage. With access to local, regional, and national insurance companies, Assured Partners will create policies tailored to the coverage you need. For more information, go online to assuredpartners.com/Marshalltown. Power through partnership with Assured Partners in Marshalltown, Toledo, and West Des Moines.
Back in Bobcat Live here at Wayward Social. We are on the Gutter Point patio. This is football weather, Coach. This is nice stuff here tonight.
Yep, maybe a little bit colder, but yeah, this is getting there.
Well, when you're in the climate-controlled Unidome,
Yep,
it's always 72
always
degrees.
nice. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. They scored a victory over Valparaiso, I think, right?
Yes.
Over the weekend?
Yeah, it was their first home game in August in a long time, I remember.
So you and I got the victory. Your play career, like I mentioned, a couple of pick sixes. There's no better feeling. Like, that was always my dream. I never got that. I never had a defensive touchdown, but that's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's definitely, especially not the biggest or fastest guy out there. You got to be smartest, so figuring out what's going on. That's what I try to teach Davis. Sam's starting to learn a little bit too at the safety, like another linebacker out there, know always what's going on.
We've had a really good, the Bobcats have had a really good history of solid linebackers. You know, I mean, I could go up and down the list, including, Carson Williams, who played last Thursday a little bit for NDSU against Colorado. Gannon Williams, Ace Holmes. I mean, I could go on and on. There's been really good linebackers. Now you look at Davis Ragland. Tough break for Xavier Anderson last week with the injury, lower leg injury, but his replacement came in, and Jamison Niehaus, and ended up making a huge defensive play with the safety in the end zone and got your team a couple points there. So kind of that next man up philosophy. We saw Zach Wilder last year move into that role, and then he's continued. He looked pretty good on Friday night. So, man, it just impresses me with the linebacker core. Is that just you spending time with those guys and making sure they're ultra prepared to go out Friday night?
Well, good thing for high school football. Typically, the linebackers are probably going to be one of your better football players, so you always get them. And a lot of those guys, like Jamison, he just loves football. So you could probably put him at safety, put him at slot, at wide receiver, and he's going to do pretty well for you. So usually it's guys that just love football. And this year I've been with the D-line and linebackers, so a little less time with him. But Coach Cox has stepped in, and he does a good job with them too.
Yeah. What's it like to coach a guy like Ignacio Macias on the defensive line?
Oh, Nacho's something else. You can probably ask anyone. Man, I love having him on Friday nights. He's going to go 100% until he can't anymore. So
yeah.
That's the great thing about Nacho. He's going to give it his all, especially on Fridays.
One thing this year, too, that I've noticed is, kind of going in, you knew how some of the guys like Lincoln Barker, Ignacio Macias, that kind of thing. But you've also been able to work in some new guys and have a little bit more of a rotation out there on the defensive line. Do you feel good about the depth piece? Because defensive line, those big guys can get worn out. So you've got to have somebody come in there, get those fresh legs, and get that pressure, right?
Yeah, especially when our offense, man, they were moving the ball, but all 5 of their starting offensive linemen, 4 of them are starting for us on defense. So they go 12 plays and score. I'm not complaining. We're going to throw other guys in there, and we just got to keep them ready. Like some of the sophomores, Nate Sinclair, big kid, 360, 6'4", 6'5". So give them those guys a blow till they're ready to go.
Yeah. Last Friday night, your defense gave up 26 points in the first half. Now, not all the defense. There were some special teams points in there as well. But when you look at that defensive performance in the second half, to go out, get a goal line stand, get a safety, pitch a shutout in the second half. Holy smokes, that's a good base right there to build on for the rest of the year.
Yeah, we didn't give up that many yards, but all those guys who are on defense are on the kickoff too. So it's still on us to do it. But yeah, the second half we came out and played the ball we want to play. So we just have to do that from the very first snap, not after halftime.
This team for Cedar Rapids Jefferson, they kind of do a lot of different things. Last year we saw them establish the run a little bit more than we saw the year before. And in my thought, that what's kind of your game plan? What do you know they're going to do well that you need to shut down on Friday?
Well, they got a good receiver, just like we faced last week. But he's this guy's more of a receiver. He's going to catch it downfield. More, the quarterback's been there a couple years, played for him now. So just bringing guys from everywhere, trying to confuse the O-line, because they are a good team. They line up in so many different formations, probably the most formations we're going to see this year. So just being ready for anything. 2 tights, 5 wide, could be anything. Bendo, their quarterback, fairly mobile. Hanson last week, not extremely mobile, but could move a little bit. So when you prepare defensively your attack, how challenging is it to plan for a mobile quarterback at the high school level? Yeah, the more they can move, the more it's a little more difficult, because everyone wants to come up and make a tackle, and he's still behind the line and can throw it. So we'd rather have him run it than throw it 80 yards, 60 yards downfield to a guy downfield. So make him run it, and then we come up and tackle him for 3 or 4 yards. Yeah.
I know that, you can kind of look back and say 1 point loss, that kind of stuff, but for you, how do you get your guys to kind of move on, like, hey, new week, or is it a pretty simple thing? Is this a team hungry to move on and get after it in a new week?
I think so, because everything we did is fixable. We watched film and told them, like, we gave 100% effort. It's all fixable. Like Coach Mann said, we weren't cramping up. We were ready for the game. We just got to fix the little things here. And last year, like you said, they ran it on us. We're a lot bigger and stronger this year. So hoping we can stop it this year.
Yeah. Friday night, Cedar Rapids Jefferson, 6:30 pregame, and 7:30 is kickoff. Last question for you, Coach. Who's really stood out so far early on in the season that maybe has kind of surprised you on that defensive side?
Big surprise here. The guy who's up here, Sam. Last year, he was more of a grab and kind of fall to the ground type of guy. If you go watch the film, he probably had the hit of the game. He smacked their quarterback a couple times running towards the sideline. So really happy with Sam and how he's improved just from last year. Yeah. He's done really well for us.
That's awesome. And congrats on the new baby boy, Bo.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a football name right there. That's awesome. How are the accommodations at Mary Greeley for you? Were they good?
Yeah, the couch could have been a little better, I guess. But it was all right. A little 2-night stay, so it wasn't too bad.
That's good. Happy, healthy, everything good?
Yep, everything good.
That's good. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks, Duncan. Good luck on Friday night.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Duncan Furch, that'll wrap things up with Bobcat Live here tonight, as you've been watching Bobcat Live from Wayward Social on KFJB-TV.
Wayward Social is the place for fun. With 20 lanes of bowling, leagues for all levels, great food and drink options, an awesome arcade, there is a ton of fun to be had at Wayward Social. And that's just on the inside. Step outside and enjoy patio life at Gutter Point with drinks, shuffleboard, live music, and fun atmosphere. Follow Wayward Social on Facebook for updates on specials and live music. It is all on South 6th Street in Marshalltown. Visit wayward-social.com to plan your next visit to the place for fun.
Sportsmanship starts with us.
As a student athlete, I need to model good behavior and represent my school appropriately.
That means respecting my teammates, coaches, opponents, the officials, and fans.
If I do that, so will others, and being a good sport becomes a way of life.
To all of Iowa's student athletes getting ready to compete, remember, sportsmanship starts with us.
Miller Middle School turns 100 next year. In 1925, Miller faces a long list of challenges, including limited technology capabilities, lack of space for learning, gathering, and new programming to prepare our students for the next step in their journey. Voters will consider a referendum in November to reimagine Miller for future generations. To learn more, go to MarshalltownCSDfuture.com.